But what really stands out to you, Sage? So I'm gonna let you go in on Anthony Black first because you are, I think, much higher on
Yes,
him
definitely.
and his
I mean,
NBA
if anyone listened to the
prospect than
last
I am.
if anyone listened to the last podcast that we released, we got a little spicy about our opinions on Anthony Black and Jalen Hood Schifino. But I remember you asking me like a few months ago, who matches well with Shaden better between the two Arkansas players, Anthony Black and Nick Smith? And I said Nick Smith because I was worried about Anthony Black shooting. And it shit hasn't changed. He's still a bad shooter, but I just fell in love with his playmaking vision and passing. I think that that's where we have to start because I you mentioned it. He is a floor general. Like I trust him to make the right decision at the right time. I think we have to say Arkansas as a whole, when their sharpshooting big got hurt, their spacing was awful because you had Jordan Walsh, you had all of these non-shooters surrounding Anthony Black, and he's not a good shooter. I think he's a willing shooter, which, with Ben Simmons' unwillingness to shoot, it's so much worse. Anthony's willing to shoot, but every time he drove, it was in a crowd of four people. Because like, why would you let non-shooters have any? Once they shoot, you win that possession. If it goes in, it goes in. So he had to have the most difficult spacing issues in out of any of these lottery bound players because he's just driving into three dudes whenever he drives, and that's where I see the offense coming from is from the drive. But with Arkansas, it's hard to really see it. And then you look at his drive numbers, and it's awful because he's driving into multiple dudes. Like, there is a floater that has some touch to it, but the numbers are awful because of the statistic, like the spacing on the court. So it's difficult to look at with his scoring, but the playmaking is just so good. Like Yusuf Nurkic or whoever the big is on this team is going to fall in love with Anthony Black's vision because there were some passes early in the season which there was no window, but he created a window and created open shots for his teammates. I think playmaking and the creativeness to dribble and create shots for others is the thing that I look at the most. And I know me saying that with AJ Griffin being so obsessed with him last year, kind of weird, but
Desmond Bain too, 2020.
I mean,
The thing you always harped about in this year little was the lack of spacing, and so it's a
I'm not
little odd
expecting
to
this year to
me.
dribble.
It's just a little odd to me that you used to harp on prospects for not being able to shoot, and you're falling in love with a player whose
It's the
jump shot
passing.
is
It's absolutely the vision in the passing. Like when I play NBA 2K, I'm the point guard. I see the stuff that he sees, and then there's some passes that I'm just like, why are you doing that? There's nothing. Oh, there's something there, and he creates just these beautiful passes. So that's what made me fall in love with him. I really wish I didn't fall in love with him because of the negative issues that we will talk about. But the playmaking, the passing is just so captivating to me that it just made me fall in love with what Anthony Black can do as a 6'7" point guard. And the fact that Arkansas empowered him to be that point guard at 6'7" because people thought he was a 2 because of how tall he is. But they empowered him to be the one to take all of the responsibilities for all the decision making. And Jesus, like all of those interior passes that he does is crazy. And he also can hit the wide open shooter. So the passes is just fantastic to me. Like, I know we're gonna get onto the negatives, but I just had to harp on his playmaking.
no. I agree. I do think you see the flashes of brilliance with the court vision. I do think he will benefit from NBA spacing.
Yeah, I think he's number one.